Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here for the next step of the finals here at Crystal Lanes in Corning for the Christing Invitational. I'm here with Kevin Donovan, and we will be going live for this set of the finals. I have it.
You do have it? Maybe I just don't have it.
Oh, shoot.
Well, folks, we are live here. Kevin Donovan here with Donna Scrivens and Mark Walters. I will be sharing this link to my Facebook page if you're so interested in watching. Uh, just one second. How do you copy the link? Oh, that's-
Okay, you gotta go down with it now.
Oh, a little low. Yeah, go up a little. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's fine. So two very different matches here. We'll be going back and forth. On 11 and 12, we have Derek Lisi against Paul Bryan. And on 13 and 14, we have J.R. Fleming against Ray Scrivens. Um, two very bigger hands, a lot of power, and two people that are a lot straighter. This will be really interesting to see how this plays out. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of different styles in this tournament. A lot of straight guys, a lot of power guys. So we'll see how it goes. I'd like to point out my beautiful girlfriend, Skylar Harwood, wants to get in on the commentary and discuss her bowling expertise. She says she likes the Golden Jackal because it's pretty. That's about the extent of her expertise. So, good job, Skylar.
Oh, you're talking to your girlfriend on here? What the
Yes, sir.
heck? I don't blame you.
Mark, I was just commenting to our viewers here the various styles, especially in these two matches. We have two guys that are a lot of power, a lot of hand, and then we have two guys that are straighter players. Comment a little bit about that, and what do you think is going to happen? How's that going to affect the lanes and the scoring pace?
Personally, I think the guys that throw it a little straighter with enough ball speed are going to be fine. I can't count JR out because he overpowers the condition. This young Lacey lad, I don't know him that well. Paul can play about anywhere. And I really believe that the straighter player, as it goes on, is going to be a little bit more of an advantage, only because they don't have as much room to get in trouble with the swing puck, looking for the break point. So I don't know. That's
That's a
my
very
take
good
on it.
point, Mark. And you touched on it a little bit. We're still on a 45-foot pattern. This isn't free hook by any means. It's still 45 feet, so it's about getting that ball straight through the front part of the lane. Yeah, Derek is a less ball speed than Jr. Jr. tends to overpower the lane.
And then we have Grumpy Paul with his grumpy face.
The infamous Paul Bryan. I tell you what, he is a character. When we travel for the PBA regional circuit, this guy knows where every single good restaurant is that you've ever seen. We went to recently. We went down to Maryland, and we went to this place where they're known for their crab cakes. These things were huge, and I'll tell you right now, they were fantastic.
Imagine that.
Of course, Jr. is now giving me a hard time about my love for Chipotle, but that's okay. That's okay.
He's playing really straight, but I don't think he's hitting where he's looking. The ball seemed to jump. The last two shots jumped on him.
Yeah, the ball seems to be checking up earlier.
At least he just really whacked that last
Converted the
one.
washout.
Makes the washout. First ball, he was a little hard and it just laid there. Really labored to get back.
And Derek's holding himself together pretty well too mentally. I mean, he hasn't hit in the pocket yet. 7 spare, 8 spare, 6 spare, bowling up against Paul. He's holding his own. He's being patient. He's not quite lined up, but that's coming.
I think that was the move he made there to see if he could get the ball to the pocket. I think the shot ahead of that 8 spare was a little high.
Yes.
So he moved his feet left, target left, and it stayed there. It just didn't roll out.
Yes. And Paul strike 8 spare. He's back in the covert revolt. Let's see what this shot does. This is a big shot. Interesting. 11 and 12. That is a tricky pair in this house. The 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 area, that is a tricky pair. So in that match, it's going to come down to really who can figure out both lanes first.
Yeah, I think the big thing is who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Yes, absolutely.
But now Fleming's not trying to hook the bottom out of it now. He looks like he's playing a little bit straighter. I can't tell. Does he have urethane in his hand?
I don't know what ball that is, but it doesn't look like a urethane piece.
To me, now that I see it, I don't think so.
It doesn't look like a urethane piece, but like we've talked about before, don't rule out JR and urethane. It could happen at any given point.
I agree.
Big shot here for JR though. He could put some pressure on Ray, and as you guys seen it a few shots right now. JR really overpowers the lane. And that looked.
Changed balls too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He went to a golden jackal and wrapped a 10 pin.
At
Tough.
week 10 though, didn't hit that hard. It was a little behind the head pin when it went through.
Yeah.
So.
Something a little
again,
cleaner.
Yeah.
Tell you what, guys, he's going to be tough.
But again, not a lot. He's more in the middle.
Yep.
He's not doing the big, let's hook the bottom out of it either. Gets good hand, but.
That's a good point. There's power guys that are slower and want to wheel it, and there's power guys that throw it harder. And
I can't. Fleming's giving me his poses. He thinks he's a WWE wrestler. Again, Ray's in the middle. He's just not comfortable yet with the condition.
Yes, I agree. Let's see what the Derek Lacey does here. Oh, that's inside off his hand.
Pretty good break though.
Yeah, that shot wasn't clean off his hand.
He's really climbing at it though.
Yeah,
He's really trying to hook it.
And I think he caught too much of that at the bottom.
Yeah.
We talked about gripping, and you don't want to grip the ball on this.
And again, he didn't get out clean. Ray takes his 10 off to 6.
It's a couple missed spares for Ray.
He's got to find it quickly because Fleming won't let up.
Once JR's locked in, he's going to be tough.
He throws a lot of strikes.
JR's had a great year. He's averaging 240 in league, and very close cover for Derek. He knocked him over. That's what counts, right? They're knocked over.
Not by a lot.
Still though, he's composing himself well. He's filling frames. Until he gets lined up. So that's pretty good. He's not out of this by any means. Still very close over there, and that's going to be an interesting match, I think.
I think so too.
And Ray's struggling a little bit. That
I
ball.
don't know if Ray has the tugs or what. The last 3 shots all been in the same part of the lane in.
Right.
But I don't know if his feet aren't far enough left, or his target's not far enough right, or a little of both. I'm not 100% sure.
See, Derek
how
looked
long
like
that
he
ball
moved
labored?
in.
He did move in, and he can't get it to finish. He had the same shot over there the last time.
I think
Washed out.
I think he might be confusing himself a little bit because geez, Ray.
Well, he got the 6 this time.
You got the 6. To our viewers, Ray and Mark are very, very good friends.
You'll make it next time. Well, if you push that white button, it's a lot easier. Oh, whatever. All right.
Ray Benjamin is striking a lot.
Yeah, well, so's Ollie. Ollie's got a bunch too, from what I can tell.
It's going to be a fun final match. See what JR does. Wow.
He's playing what, about 17 at the arrows?
And that's a little bit of the difference right now is, with JR's ball speed, he's able to clear that front part of the lane, so he doesn't see that early one.
Right.
Ray, with his slower ball speed, that ball is seeing it. When I was getting back to Derek and that shot on lane 11, with patterns that are a little bit flatter, and I say a little bit because it is still 6 or 7 to 1, so it's not, it's not a house shot, but it's not a sport pattern by any means.
Right. It's not even a challenge.
So,
is it considered a challenge pattern, would you say?
Well, slightly challenge, we'll say, but
Yeah.
if you think the ball's hooking and you come in and then you get out of it clean, you're going to just confuse yourself.
Right.
So
Right.
I think Derek kind of confused himself because on lane 12 he gripped it, so he probably thought it hooked.
Right.
And then,
I see what you're saying.
Yes, and then by the time he got 11, he probably adjusted, moved his feet to make up for that hook, and the ball sailed on him. So it's got to be a matter of repeating shots. With that said, Paul Bryan threw a double, and with the Golden Jackal, looks like, and he's going to put some heat on a little bit. Derek has made a ball change. Let's see if we can get that match for a little bit. Oops, too far. There we go.
Jumped on that one too. He gets right on top of it. I think he's really trying to overpower the lanes.
Yeah,
It looks like to me. I think he's I don't know him that well, but it looks to me like he's a slow hook guy.
Yeah, he look at that spare by Ray Scrivens.
That counts as a double where we come from.
Yeah, Derek likes to get a handful at the bottom. When I've watched him bowl a lot, through his high school career, and the thing I noticed with Derek is you can get out of it with a big hand and have a lot of power, but if you don't get out of it clean, that creates that problem. Like we've talked about, the way if you don't get out of it clean, the ball responds to the friction differently. If you look at guys like E.J. Tackett and Marshall Kent, Dom Barrett, they're a lot of high rev guys, but they get out of it extremely clean.
Right. You don't get that, and if it hangs, it gets in the air a little bit, and the ball won't hook in the air.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
So
that's absolutely correct. Let's see what he does here.
Right now, that's a struggle. That was better.
Yes, that looks better, and it's still checked up on him. Holy cow. He's saying the same thing. I think he threw that one pretty good.
It looked good from here, but again, it checked it real fast.
Yes, it did.
Of course, again, it's all how they break the pairs down.
That's true too. So keep in mind to our viewers, these lanes have not been re-oiled. They're bowling on what people bowled on in qualifying. So their aftermath is still on these lanes.
Right.
I don't know what ball Derek's throwing. I have no clue what that is. Looks like a pearl just by
it does look like a pearl.
Very quick response.
Well, he's wearing Storm shirt, so I don't know if that means he's throwing Storm or not.
You see JR a little bit here, and I know you can't see the scores, but
there it comes.
Ooh.
Oh.
A little bit of a flat 10 with a slight messenger.
It went down a hair longer than the last one too. Might have been in a little bit, carried a little farther down, didn't get the friction till later on the shot.
Paul Bryan. Oh, messenger just missed the 10 pin.
Staying with the Golden Jackal too.
It's a very interesting piece. I like it. It's low RG pearl, very smooth. It's still got that big engine. That's nice. JR is another one. He's a very good spare shooter.
Yeah, he is.
Very good spare shooter.
Well, using none was brought up when you had to make spares.
Right, that's correct.
Let's miss one and we can throw 7 in a row in house condition and come back.
Right.
But he's throwing it. JR threw good. He said the first match too.
And we got a comment from RJ Cook. We got the big dog and the blonde bomber commentating. I like RJ. I like that, man. I like that.
You're one of our few loyal followers, even when we had the one we were doing it for the scores for the week.
That's correct. What do you say, Mark? What if we get the infamous Bobby Downing in here for a few words of wisdom? Update: Bobby is refusing to come down. There's a nice shot from Ray Scribbins. Tight matches here, guys. Tight matches. Derek isn't out of it, but he made another ball change. Very good shot. Very good shot by Derek Lisi. The scores probably look a little bit blurred, so I will be happy with the score update. Derek has 112 in the 7th, striking the 8th. Paul Bryan has 146 in the 7th, striking the 8th. 34 pin lead for Paul Bryan with the 9th and 10th to go. At this point, I think anything can happen with that match.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, get paid.
Oh, and he carries at Brooklyn.
That left lane, I think, is flying. Holy cow! But that's kind of another advantage for the straight guys, like you talked about, Mark. It's funny. Pair to pair is going to be a very big factor.
Well, it's going to be what you got in your hand and your ability to move.
Exactly.
Benjamin's still throwing a method down there. He throws at Brooklyn, leaves a 5-pin.
Paul Bryan up there.
3-6.
Golden Jackal.
No, it's not the
Wow.
6-10 anyway.
Very good shot by Paul Bryan.
Well, it was a good adjustment.
Let's see if we can get some guest commentating up in here about these matches. Let's
Oh, that's
see
2
if I can
10-pins in a row.
see if I can get Mike Donovan over here, get his thoughts on the day.
Yeah, tell him get over here. I'll get out of the way.
All right, we'll get him on here for a little bit. He's not he's not too talkative.
That's all right. Get on there.
We've been requested for some guest commentating.
Guest commentary?
We had Mike Donovan with a very respectable showing today. Had 686 in qualifying and lost to Ray Benjamin. Ray had about 70 over in his match. What did you see on the lane stat, and what did you see in your match in particular against Ray?
Well, I think you had to get the ball down a lane to around 10. There's a little bit of room to the right outside of 10, so you had to kind of play, depending on how much hand you put in the ball, the track area, down the lane. So Ray, obviously with a lot of revs, could play deeper and get the ball right, where I had to play a lot straighter. And obviously didn't carry very well too, so I think the carry down and the transition also didn't help. But
So, talk about Mark and I have been talking about how the higher rev guys can afford to have a little bit more push because of that, the high revolutions they have, and they also have a little bit miss room to the right. With that said, talk a little bit about the length of the pattern and how that played a factor into your carry into that match.
I didn't really move much from 15 and 16 from the qualifying. I moved, actually I played a little bit tighter. I probably was a little bit further right when I moved down than when I wasn't qualifying. Again, I think that was because of the transition, probably a little bit more carry down. But I didn't really play him all that different. I just definitely didn't carry as well. And then again, I think that was because of the carry down and the transition. So Ray didn't really seem to bother as much because he was much further left and was getting the ball further right down the lane, where there was still probably pretty strong back end.
Right. So because of that higher ball speed, he was not only able to get the ball down lane, but he was also able to get it to peel off the spot.
Right. So it'll be interesting to watch these matches, because you've got, right now each match has a straighter player with a player that's hooking a lot more boards. So it's going to be really interesting to see in these 4 matches who gets the carry.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We keep talking about JR, he overpowers the lane. And so based on who's remaining in the final 8, what are your thoughts?
JR is going to be tough, and I think Ray still could be tough. Eric, I don't know so well, but he's been bowling quite well. Mosier's the only left-hander in the field, and of course, when you give Doug any room to the left, he's going to be around the hole every shot. It's just going to be a question of whether he carries or not. So I still think if Ray can figure out the transition and stay ahead of the breakdown, I think he and Jr. could be tough.
We just got an update that Doug Mosier is about down 20. I'm waiting to hear about the Howie Ayers and Ray Benjamin match. That's going to be a
very
dog
tight
fight.
match. That was a very tight match when I was down there. I know it was really, really close. So
I agree. That's going to be a dogfight. There's a lot of guys that can throw a lot of strikes at any given time. For the matches in front of us right now, JR shot a 249 game. He's going to have a pretty considerable lead at this point against Ray Scrivens. Let's see what Ray can do here. It's a good shot.
JR is he'll be tough.
And the Paul Bryan and Derek Lisi match, Paul made a ball change and missed once the back half of the game and shot 236. And Derek shot a 188 game. Derek struggled a little bit that match. It was kind of tough. I think he's getting accustomed to those lanes. Mike, talk about the experience factor on what they're bowling on and how that relates to transition.
Well, I think clearly it's going to be pretty important, which is probably something maybe Derek Lisi may have a little bit harder time with now as the lanes are changing. He's bowling Paul. Paul's going to be a pretty straight player. He's probably going to know what adjustments to make. I don't think Paul's going to run out of lane. Paul's pretty good at staying inside, pretty much inside of 15. If he had to move deeper, he usually probably struggles a little bit if he has to go inside of 15, but he won't need to. So I think, he's going to be at a big advantage. Derek, as the lanes are changing, maybe a little bit more difficult for him because he may just not bowl on this as often.
That's true. And, Derek's, coming out of high school, will be attending Corning next year. And, as his college career continues, he'll see more of it.
See, he just went Brooklyn there. Brooklyn bad. He missed way left. So it looks like he's really struggling on that pair. He just needs to keep moving his feet in target left and still trying to get the ball right out to the break point.
Do you think it's going to get to the point where we see somebody get a little airtime and the ball get lofting to get the front part of the lane?
No, I don't think so. Because
much oil?
There hasn't been that much play. You only got two people on a pair. The finals are going to be on 7 and 8, which has only had 4 people on there for qualifying. So no, I don't think you're going to see people having to get too far left. How do you do on that shot? You made a good shot there.
Looked like it.
Might have been a 10 pin, but yeah.
Yes.
Tell by his reaction that it was a 10 pin. But Derek had a great day. It's great experience for him. He had a great day. You can't be in a high qualifier and figuring the lanes out really quick. He bowled really well, so you got to give him a lot of credit.
Leading the tournament against the Corning contingent. So it's a very good day for him.
Great experience for him, Bill. I'm sure he'll continue to build off it. He's going to need to throw some strikes, though. He's down quite a few pins to Paul, and Paul looks pretty lined up. So unless Paul loses carry, Paul's going to fill his frames. He usually don't miss too many spares, so
Paul's got a 48-pin lead, from our understanding.
Raymond?
Good
He's
shot.
been on fire. He's been on fire the last month and a half, 2 months.
He struggled a little bit last game, missed a few spares, but you know what? A couple bad breaks. He chopped a 610. I believe he whiffed the 10 pin.
Yeah.
A little high for Paul.
There's a 4 pin. I think that's a good move, though. Pretty aggressive ball, move left and get it right. I think he's got the right ball in his hand.
I agree with you. That asymmetric pearl bowling ball with that jackal, chords. That's a strong bowling ball. It's a strong down lane bowling ball. And on 45 feet for a straighter player, that looks pretty good. Actually, for any player for that matter, it'll allow them to get quicker or get left quicker and open the lane up.
I think the Howie. And I said Paul doesn't miss a lot of spares, and that's all I needed to say, and he missed one.
Yep.
Time to get me from the booth.
Mike, you're getting fired. So
I'm getting fired.
Good bowling today, and
not good. I got to go down and see how the Howie Ray matches. I told Ray I bowled with him in qualifying, and I bowled with him in the match. I said, "You're gonna probably not bowl so good without me with you in this next match. You want me to come down and sit in the settee area?" So he probably misses me. That's why he's having a little little struggle.
So pick one. Who's winning?
Howie Ray,
Who's winning the tournament?
JR.
He's got J.R. Fleming. So there's your pick. Mike, great bowling.
See ya.
So we got an update. Ray Benjamin is up 16 pins, and Mosier is down 35. It's changing. You know, down there's a lot of great players down there. Mosier can throw a lot of strikes. Howie can throw a lot of strikes. Ray can throw a lot of strikes.
So your dad tells me he got thrown out,
Yep, he got booted.
and after whiffing a 4-pin, he comes back and leaves the pro washout and doesn't make it.
Does not make it. No. So this is a new ball game. Little pressure on the young bowler, and Paul's got to figure it out. You know, what's kind of interesting, Mark, is lane 11 is the hooking lane.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he whips that 4-pin, the ball is a little high, so he moves off that and then washes out. So now what?
Yes. So that's a good question. What is the move?
Fleming's throwing it a little bit hard right now for this batter.
Paul's got a 48 pin lead.
Yeah.
Very powerful shot by Derek. He's getting out of this. He's much cleaner.
Looks it, yeah. No, it's not bouncing it, so he's not getting it airborne. So yeah. Talking to JR when I was off, he said his goal is to get this ball in his hand. It's a track heat.
Okay.
He said if he's on house, it never leaves the living room. But he said if he's bowling on sport or something a little harder than house, that's his goal, is to get to that, because that's probably the cleanest rolling equipment he has.
Jeez, and you take that combined with his speed and his hand at the bottom.
Yeah.
Man, the ball touches the 1-3. Derek, big double.
Nice touch there.
Big double.
Nice touch.
So let's see, 48 pin leads. That would mean
He's down ball's down 31, ball in hand.
it's a lot closer now.
Yeah.
Good shot,
Ray changed the ball, went to a method. He just drilled that in the last month or so. Hasn't thrown it much up there during during league. And there's this wonderful 7-pin on lane 12.
Yep. So, it was a good shot. A little bit light on the head pin.
Yeah.
It's a good shot, though. I mean,
Well,
4-pin to light 7. You know.
That way he shouldn't move off too much here. I'm sure he's going to have to square his angles up on the left lane after leaving that washout. I'm sure that'll work on his head a little bit to figure out where he's got to play with it.
Oh, that's why.
See ya.
She ain't gonna come out back from out there. No, sir. Howie is still struggling. Oh, Howie has the front 7.
Does he?
Holy cow. Is it? JR just informed us that pair's pretty carved. JR's playing pretty straight on that pair, so yeah, JR probably opened that pair up nice for Howie and Ray. So based on those scores that I'm seeing right now, it looks like Howie's going to advance. I don't know about the Mosier match yet.
I'll wander down there and see what's going on.
We got a little drama here early with Derek and Paul. This is going to be a lot closer. Paul needs to make a ball change. He's making a ball change. I'll tell you what, that is great execution by Paul Bryan. Couple open frames and a flat seven, and makes a ball change and just buries one. That is very good execution by Paul Bryan. JR with another good shot. Derek could put some heat on right here. This is a big shot. This is a very big shot. I mentioned Derek's down 48. This could get a lot closer. Looks pretty good. Very nice shot. So let's see.
Okay, I got somewhat of an update.
Mark is back.
The Mosier Kramer match is really close,
Okay.
and Benjamin and Howie, Ray Benjamin and Howie Harris just got it locked up. Ray got a bad break and left an 8-10 on Mosier whiffed that 7-pin. So maybe he didn't.
No, it looks like a whiff to me.
Yeah, it showed up. Yeah, it sounded it too. So
Another big shot for Derek right here. Another very big shot. It's gonna be even if he strikes here.
10-pin?
Nope, he struck.
Went down.
He struck. Derek can go out for 280
Yeah.
halfway through. Paul can go out for 237, but don't forget he has that 48 pin
Right.
advantage right
The
now.
way that
So
Derek's throwing it, he might have to.
yep, it's essentially about even.
Howie left the ring 10. Kramer had them all but one. It was a single pin and he missed it. Back to the
Here
Cobra
we go.
Revolt,
Back to
isn't
the
it?
Cobra Revolt. It's really impressive, Mark. He the knowledge of equipment he had. He changed balls twice, and they were two really good ball changes.
Yeah.
The only problem with Paul right now is just those two missed spares. The one washout and the single pin. But here we go. Another big shot for Paul Bryan.
I think they're all going to be big right now, as long as Derek keeps throwing strikes.
Yep. It's going to be who's going to blink first.
Right.
Looks pretty good. 10 back. Holy cow, we have a dogfight here.
Yes, we do.
And worth noting, we do have some of the current touring senior pros who could not bowl us Savannas that are out, I believe, down in Florida.
Right.
Bob Leonard, Ryan Schaefer, and Jimmy Pitts.
And Ryan just finished fourth
Very
in
nice showing.
Sarasota.
Very nice showing. That win's coming for him.
He lost to, I want to say Kevin Crozier, but I'm not sure.
Okay. That win's coming for him. He's throwing it too good right now.
Yeah, I agree.
He's throwing it too good. So
Qualified third. Won his first. The first match he came in on was he had a 2-round bye,
oh,
and he won that match. It was a 3-game match, and then they go head to head. There's a big break right there for Derek Lisi throwing the ball Brooklyn and carrying it, give him a 5-bagger.
and that's what we talk about, Mark, is the difference between gripping the ball and coming out clean.
Right.
If Derek got out of that clean, that probably would have been in the pocket. But, sometimes those breaks happen.
Who's Tanya's watching? Hi, Tanya.
Yeah. Hi, Tanya. That's the difference. There might be a little nerves too, a little grip there.
I think we all get that way. He's in a fight here.
Yep. It's a big shot right here. That looked in off his hand. And that's what it was. Never got to the spot.
4, 5, 7. Well, that could be grip issue, or that could be just getting a little amped up and threw it a touch harder.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And so it's worth pointing out again, if you grip the one shot and you think it was the ball and not you move off of a bad shot, and that's kind of a double negative.
I don't think he moved off that shot that last one.
I don't think so
He
either.
threw it bad because he threw it dead left.
Yeah.
And he just got out of it late. Ball went left. He got a huge break that he carried it, but it's not anything you're going to move off of. Well, they always say never move off a bad shot.
Correct. And he's shooting at the spare. Very nice cover. The 2-4-5-7. That's not an easy one. So let's
Good
see.
news was there was no 8-pin with it. JR's going to make this.
Oh. Still close. So Paul go out for 37. Derek still got 256 on the board. It's a big 8th and 9th frame. It's a really big 8th and 9th frame for Paul. He's
Paul
delivered.
really, to keep him in it, he really needs this one. Because the other, Derek's on the spare. That's a little wide. Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that got back. That looked right off his hand, but came up nice. Just like he knew what he was doing.
87, 117. So,
47?
yeah.
37.
So Let's see. Derek.
37.
Yes, 237. Paul just needs 2.8 or higher, and he moves on. So it's a big shot right here. Paul
Flushed it.
Bryan.
Moves on.
Wow.
That should be enough.
That's
17,
looking pretty good.
9, yeah, he's good. And
Yep.
play gets him 2 teens.
I'd like to report also Howie's run had ended. He will advance though. He had the front 8 and I see a 9 spare,
Yeah, he's good.
I believe.
And then he just left a 210.
Yep.
10th frame.
So we're quickly approaching the final 4.
Good shot there.
That's a good shot by Derek. We'll see more of him in this tournament.
Yeah,
There's
I think that's all for naught now, but boy, he's had a really good run.
Yep, great qualifying score.
Yeah, you said he was high qualifier, right?
Yes.
791.
Yes.
Beautiful. And he's a high school player.
Yep, he's graduating this spring and going to one of my alma maters. He's going to Corning.
Okay.
And I'm sure Paul and Benny are going to love working with him. He's very, very talented and he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. And maturity will help too.
Of course.
As he gets a little bit older, he'll learn, He sure is holding his own tonight.
Yep, he had a very nice day and should be pretty proud of himself.
All with the ball, shooter. Should have tried that with a 6'10". Oh, I'm on the air. Sorry. You have to understand, I've known Ray for probably 50 years, so none of this he'll take it serious.
Yep, Ray and Mark, the dynamic duo. The spotlight on sports dynamic duo,
Couple of old guys, yeah.
Right? Bunch of goofballs, that's for sure. But Paul has wrapped up that match. I have not heard about the Mosier match. Howie Ayers is advancing.
It's like I said, Eric was up 38. But I don't know whether that whiff had anything to hurt him or not.
Yep.
Let me wander back.
We're going to go back to the JR and Ray match, see if Ray can make this close. He's got a pretty significant lead at this point. A lot can happen. Ray's coming back, so we'll see what JR can do here. Violent messenger by JR Fleming. JR, man, when he's got that room, he is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Paul Bryan, first hit in the 10th. Paul's advancing and JR. This is actually kind of close. JR is only got like 20 minutes at this point. Sit down, back on it for a little bit. Here, sit. They'll like to hear it. So I'm sitting here now with Howie Ayers. He's gonna comment about his match. Howie was down 20 pins going into the last game. Howie, talk about your adjustment and not only your physical adjustment but your mental adjustment. How do you go from being down 20 pins to throwing the front 8 in that final match? Talk about what you did on the lanes and talk about how you were feeling throughout that match.
Well, truthfully, I got a pretty good look the first game. I left a couple pocket 7-10s on lane 5. I decided to stay where I was, try and get off it just a hair with my speed so I can get it just a corner a little bit more. And truthfully, everything on that lane, if you got it right, it hooked early. You had to keep it tight, and I was playing 15 to 17, keeping it nice and slow, and just letting it come off it a little bit, just enough to strike. I just tried to play them tight, and that's what worked. Like Benjamin did. Benjamin threw a couple of them that got right, and when they did, they hooked early, and that's what hurt him.
So Mark and I were talking about how there's like seems to be a wide variety of different players in this final eight, and not only in the final eight but the final 16. We see a lot of power guys.
Yep.
We see a lot of straight guys. Talk about the benefit of being a straighter player in your match, particular.
I think being a little straighter player, my accuracy is a little better. That's what helped me against Ray because his accuracy is a little all over the place.
Mhm.
It allowed me to actually play the shot the way I had to play it and stay tight with it, where he was trying to open it up. And being a power player and throwing it with so many revs, if you're spraying it at all on this, it takes off and it hurts you.
Especially on the 45-foot pattern.
Yes.
And I just got word that the dangerous lefty Doug Mosier has advanced. I'll tell you what, this is going to be one heck of a Final Four.
I think he won by about 9.
I don't like what they did that.
257. No, so still, you're
They brought 3 and 4 and play and won't play all day.
No, they're on that pair. Yes, they did. I'm sure.
I didn't see it.
No, the only two pairs that were out of play were 1 and 2 and 7 and yeah. But every pair was used for qualifying.
Because Governor said they were on 5 and 6, and we hold on 3 and 4.
I knew they were on 7. When I came in, I heard 7 and 8 was fine.
So Ray finished with a 2-13 game. JR is going to win his match, and looks like we gotta move. Mark, we're moving to 9 and 10 and 5 and 6 for the semifinals and then the finals.
Earlier, they might have made it.
So take care, guys. We'll be back in a few. I'll be sharing this link on Facebook so you can tune in. So thanks, guys.
I 7-10 3 or twice first game. That's right.
No.
I went strike 4-6, strike, and we went 7-10.
Oh, yes. Oh, 9 and 10.
Dropped 3 vinegar.
Another 17.
7-10 again.
Like I told you, Thursday night, Jesus Christ, you get 17 on me.
11 and 12. Okay, we'll stay right here. I lied. We're going to stay right here. Got the match on 11 and 12. I misunderstood. So we're going to rotate here.
93. By 20.
Ryan's girlfriend Jennifer got me straightened away, and she knows what's going on.
When you leaving? At Elmira. Well, have a good time. And bring some, yeah, I was gonna say, bring some sunshine back, will you?
And JR just finishing up here.
All right. Lose by 20.
Yep. It's JR, Paul, Mosier, and Howie. Yes. We are going to be watching the featured pair on 11 and 12. I don't know who that is. By the looks of it, I believe it's Doug Mosier and Howie Ayers on 11 and 12.
Like I just double checked, yes. It's gonna be JR and Howie.
JR and Howie. Moving on to the final 4. We're moving. I lied. Yep, we're moving the